أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وبارك وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Students of 6th semester, I welcome you all to another session of lecture series of Principles of Auditing. Inshallah, today we'll start chapter number 2, and chapter number 2 is Auditor and Audits. Before I further talk about the chapter, let's discuss what are we going to discuss in today's lecture. So today's contents are review of the previous lectures, and the main discussion is going to be on auditor and the types of auditors, and audit and types of audits. So without further ado, let's discuss what we have already discussed in previous lectures. We had discussion on auditing, its meaning and definition in our previous lectures, and there was a great and a vast discussion on the meaning of audit and on the definition of audit and auditor. We also had discussion on important features of auditing. We had discussion on the purpose and objectives of auditing, primary objective and secondary objectives, and then need of an audit. We had discussion on historical background of auditing. We discussed how auditing field evolved, what was it and how it is now. We had discussion on accounting, professional bodies in auditing and accounting. We had discussion on the definition of professional body in general, then professional body in the field of accounting and auditing, and then professional bodies in UK, in USA, in Pakistan. And then we have discussion on the most important topic, which is types of accreditations provided by these professional bodies worldwide. We had discussion on the advantages of audit, and those advantages were divided into general advantages, and then inward advantages for sole trader, advantages for partnerships, businesses, and advantages for limited liability companies or corporations. Then we had discussion at the end on the relationship between accounting and auditing. And this was our first chapter, and we had discussion on all these topics, and we recorded 3 separate video lectures, and I hope you have watched all those video lectures, and I hope that you have learned a lot of things. If you have any questions, still I'm at your service. Okay, now let's see what we have on our plate. The second one is auditor and types of audits. So this is basically in chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 is auditor and audits. So the main discussion in this chapter is going to be regarding the auditor, types of auditors, audit and types of audits, and here you can see the chapter objectives. We will also discuss the work scope of an accountant or an auditor. We'll also have discussion on the notebook, audit notebook, and audit working papers. We'll have discussion at the end on the difference between accounting and auditing, right? So these are the topics that we're going to discuss in this chapter. But in today's specific lecture, we have 2 main topics for the discussion. The first one is auditor and types of auditors, and the second one is audit and types of audits. And I'll try my level best to conclude them in as less time as possible, and try to make it as simple as possible, as understandable as possible. So let's begin. Who is an auditor? Auditor is basically a professional individual, professional person, right? Professional person means a nafar maslaki. So this nafar could be fard, an individual, or it could be a firm, a company. So a professional company or a professional individual. So what is he or this company professional in? He's professional in conducting audits, right? Executing audits. He's professional in accounting. He's professional in the field of auditing, in the field of auditing and in the field of accounting. So anyone who is professional in the field of anyone, this one could be a person, an individual person, or a firm or a company, natural person or legal person. This legal person or natural person, if it is a professional in the field of auditing or accounting, we call that auditor. But it's not sufficient to be professional. This should be first of all possess specific professional qualification and should be certified by the regulatory authority in the field of accounting and auditing to execute audits of the organizations, right? So we can say an auditor is a professional person who possesses specific qualification. By specific qualification, here we mean qualification in the field of applied accounting and in the field of applied auditing, right? So this should be his qualification. This only qualification is not sufficient. Besides qualification, he should have qualification, but besides that, should be certified by the regulatory authority. Regulatory authority could be a government authority, it could be local, it could be national, it could be international. That authority should certify him or accredit him for what? To carry out or to execute audits of the organizations. So if you look at this definition, there are three things on the basis of which we can divide different types of auditors. Number one is the type of qualification, specific qualification that he possesses. On the basis of this, we divide the auditors into different types. Number two is on the basis of certification that he has from the regulatory authority, we divide the auditors into different types. And number three is on the basis of types of the task that he is carrying out, type of execution, what he executes or what organizations he examines or evaluates, right? So on the basis of these three things, number one, qualification, number two, certification. Professional qualification, number one. Number two, professional number one, professional on the basis of professional qualification. Number two, on the basis of certification from regulatory authority. And number three, on the basis of type of or scope of work that he is performing. Scope of work or type of work that he is performing. Auditors are divided into different types, and those types could be these four: independent external auditors, that's the first type; internal auditors, that's the second type; government auditors, that's the third type; forensic auditors, that's the fourth type. So on the basis of three things, as I earlier mentioned, professional qualification, certification, and work scope, auditors divided into three types: external, internal, government, and forensic, right? So let's discuss them each one by one and see how one is different than other on the basis of professional qualification, number two on the basis of certification, and number three on the basis of scope of work, right? So these three things are the basis for the division of auditors, or for classification of auditors into different types. And there are four main types, which I discussed earlier. So let's see. The first one is external auditor. So who is external auditor? An external auditor is a public accountant or auditor who conduct audits, reviews, and other work for his or her clients. So we can say, first of all, an external auditor is a public accountant. When we say public accountant, it means that this individual has the professional qualification in the field of accounting and auditing. Number two, it's certified by the accounting authority or auditing authority to conduct audits and reviews. Number three, this individual carries out work for the clients, means not for a company where he is employed. No, he is not reviewing or auditing the company's financial statements where he works. No, but he has clients, means he performs audit for other companies, not for the company where he is working, right? So he's like a consultant. He's an external individual. He provides services to other companies, and those companies pay them fee. That's why those are called clients, right? Clients always pay fee against services. External auditor provides services of review, financial review and audit to other companies, and those other companies are clients, and they pay a fee to the auditor. And this external auditor could be, as we earlier said, it could be a natural person, individual, it could be a firm or a legal person, right? An external auditor is independent of all clients, means external auditor is not the employee of any company, right? He provides just services. He could be the employee of an audit firm, but that audit firm is not audited by him, right? He is working in that company, and this company provides audit services with the help of this auditor, right? And so is in a good position to make impartial evaluation of the financial statements and systems of internal controls of those clients. So this external auditor does not only reviews the financial systems, but all the other internal control systems, operations, and everything is reviewed and audited by this external individual, and he's independent to all the organizations, right? So that's called external auditor. Hope you have understood the exact meaning and the exact concept of the external auditor. External auditor is not the employee of any company, especially of those companies which are audited by him, right? He's not the employee of those companies. He just provides them services and charges them fee and is independent of all those companies. He's external individual. He has no stake in those companies, and those companies are clients to them, right? And they fee and they are charged fee by the auditor. Now there is another type, internal auditor. Internal auditor is basically a trained professional employee, a trained professional employed by the company. This guy is also a trained professional, means he has a professional knowledge of accounting and auditing, and he is also trained for this field, but this guy is employed by the company to provide independent and object evaluation of financial and operational business activities, including corporate governance. So internal auditor is basically the employee of a company. This guy is specifically hired and trained to carry out internal audits, internal reviews, including corporate governance, operational activities, and financial activities. All of them are overlooked by this individual, and this individual independently overlooks and reviews all these activities, and then reports to the management of the organization internally, right? They are tasked with ensuring that companies comply with the law and regulations, follow proper procedures and function as efficiently as possible. Basically, internal auditors are hired by the companies in order to get themselves ready for the external auditors and external audit. They want to make sure that before somebody else comes and catches their errors and all those mistakes and misrepresentations, they want to correct themselves internally before external people comes and they figures out those errors. So this is to bring effectiveness and efficiency within the organization, and as part of internal control system, right? So the third type of auditor is government auditor. Government auditors, they are employed by the government, right? Government agencies, and they are hired to maintain and examine records of government agencies, right? And of private businesses or individuals performing activities subject to government regulations or taxation, right? So mostly government auditors are they work in the field of income tax, value-added tax, and in the field of customs and duties, right? They are hired by the government agencies in order to check the financial record of the businesses and all those individuals, all those sources of income of the individual generated within the boundaries of a country. So they are charged. Basically, the government auditors are trained and hired by the government in order to ensure the maximum revenue and minimum expenditures of the government, to maintain to help government agencies and other businesses maintain proper documentation and make them comply with the rules and regulations of law, especially and specifically the income tax law, right? So that is the job of the government auditor. In Afghanistan, there is a authority called Supreme Audit Office, Auditor Generals of Afghanistan. That's the first authority where auditors are there, and they carry out audits of different individuals and organizations and private and public and government agencies to make sure they have properly maintained their records and they have properly maintained their accounting and financial systems. And there is another authority which is called Ministry of Finance, and within Ministry of Finance there is Afghanistan Revenue and Customs Department, where there are auditors, and these auditors are hired to make sure government revenue is properly collected and businesses have properly paid their taxes, right? So that's the job of the government auditors. Now, forensic auditors. This is basically a specialization within the field of accounting and auditing. That's the specialization within specialization, right? For example, if someone is studies medicine and then he specializes in surgery, and then there is further specialization, and which is neurosurgery, cardiac surgery, or we can say nerve surgery or orthopedic surgery. So these are the further specializations. We have, for example, business administration. Within business administration, there is specialization called finance. Within finance, there is specialization called auditing and accounting. Within this, there is specialization called forensic auditing or forensic accounting. So that's specifically a specific auditor who examines and evaluate a firm's or individual's financial record to derive evidence that can be used in court of law or legal proceedings, right? In Afghanistan, they are called saranwal or taftish, right? Mufattish or saranwal. In Afghanistan, they are called mufattish or saranwal. Their job is to find out the evidences, to check your financial record, and then find out evidences that could be presented in the court against you or in the favor of you, right? So that's all about the types of the auditors. And now let's talk about the next topic, which is the type of audits. You know what is audit? We have discussed this in our first, second, and third lecture. We said audit is basically a systematic and independent examination of the accounting record and financial information by an independent external auditor, and expression of opinion by that auditor on that financial and accounting information, right? So we said there are two things in the auditing. Number one, evaluation and examination and evaluation of the financial information and accounting record. Number two, expression of opinion, right? So evaluation, examination is done with the help of evaluation, and examination is done with the help of verification and vouching, verifying all the accounting records and financial statements. And then expression of opinion is done with the help of a report, which is called audit report. In that report, it's expressed whether the financial information of this company present true and fair view or not. True and fair view. What? True and fair view. True means no material misstatement. Fair means according to the international standards. Means that all the accounting record and financial information should be true. Means there should be no misrepresentation, no error, no fraud. And also this accounting record and financial information should be maintained according to the international accounting and financial reporting standards, right? So basically the main purpose of auditing is to report this two thing, right? Now types of audits, right? So if you want to know the types of audits, you should ask yourself a question, right? And that question is, if you want to know what type. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. So there was a background noise. An airplane passed by. Actually flew by. Now if you want to know what type of audit is, you have to see who is carrying out this audit. Here by who I mean which type of auditor is carrying out this audit. So based on who carries out an audit, we can divide audits into different types. The second thing is work scope, or what work is done by the auditor, right? So based on what type of work is done by the auditor, we can divide the audits into different types. The third category is how frequent the audit is carried out. How frequent, I mean how many times a year an audit is carried out. On the basis of that, we have certain types of audits. And then finally we have legal requirement. On the basis of legal requirement, there could be different types of audits. So this is number one category, this is number two category, and this is number 3 category, right? And this is number 4 category, and number 5 category could be task base, right? So if you want to see what type of audit is it, see who is carrying an audit: internal auditor or external auditor or government auditor or forensic auditor. If the auditor is internal, you can see this is internal audit. If the audit is external, you can see that this is the external audit. If the auditor is forensic, you will see this forensic audit. If the auditor is government, you can say that this is the government audit, right? Similarly, work scope: what type of work is carried out by the auditor? If it is financial statements, so if it is operational audit, if it is a financial audit, what work is carried out by the auditor? So that is another category where there are different types. How frequent, that is another. Legal requirement, that's another. And task based. Now let's discuss these 5 categories based on who, work scope, how frequent, what work. Can also say what work or work scope, right? Or work scope. And how frequent, and also legal requirement, and also task base. So let's go ahead and discuss types of audits. The first category, types of audit by auditors: internal audit and external audit. If the individual who's carrying out audit is internal auditor, so that audit is called internal audit. If it's external, that audit is called external audit. Based on the work scope of it or activity, or what work, we have financial statements audit or financial audit, we have compliance audit, we have operational audit, we have information technology or information system audit, we have integrated audit, we have tax audit, we have special or investigation audit. There are 7 types of audits based on the work scope of or what work is done by the auditor. Next category is types of audit by time period or frequency. So that's how frequent I said earlier: annual audit, interim audit, and continuous audit. The 4th category is legal requirement by law, statutory and non-statutory, right? Statute means law, so statutory and non-statutory. The next type or category of types of audits we have is special task or task based or requirement based. So that is number 1, cost audit, management audit, construction audit, forensic audit, and financial review audit, right? So let's go ahead. Internal and external audit. By the name they are clear. External audit is carried out by the external auditor, and internal audit is carried out by the internal auditor. External auditor is more detailed, it's independent, so it's very important. So once a year every company is required to carry out external audit. Internal audit is something else. It's carried out by the employee of the company who is internal auditor, while external auditor is carried out by the professional independent individual, right? So it says that external audit is types of audit where an independent professional individual or the audit firm provides assurance services, consulting services, tax services, legal services, financial advisory, and risk management advisory. External auditors could be individual or audit firm. These kind of firms are sometimes called CPA firms, as they require to hold a CPA qualification. CPA means Chartered Public Accountancy, right? Qualification to run audit firm and sign audit reports. And examples of well-known audit firms in the world are KPMG, PwC, EY, and Deloitte. These are big names. There are some other names here by the name of More Global Network, or More Global. More is also one of the consultancy firms which has headquarters in Afghanistan as well, by the name of More Afghanistan. It's the company where myself also work as a public accountant in the field of public accountancy, providing accounting services or taxation services. My field is different a bit, right? So next, internal audit. Internal audit, as I earlier mentioned, refer to people or department that is working in the company to perform internal review investigation activities as determined by audit committee or board of directors. Internal audit is employed by a company, but it is independent from operations and not reporting to executive management. Scope of internal audit is generally determined by audit committee or board of directors. And if there is no audit committee and board of directors, internal audit normally report to owner of the company. So that's how internal audit works and how internal auditor works, right? And there is big difference between internal audit and external audit. Next one is financial audit. Financial audit is a very important one among the all. This is an analysis of the fairness of the information contained within an entity's financial statement. It is conducted by a CPA firm or individual which is independent of entity under review. This is the most commonly conducted type of audit, right? So basically, by the name you can say financial audit. When we say financial, means in this audit, financial statements and accounting record of a company is examined and reviewed by the auditor in order to make sure that they represent true and fair information, right? Compliance audit, it's different. This is an examination of the policies and procedure of an entity or department to see if it is in compliance with internal or regulatory standards. This audit is most commonly used in regulated industries or educational institutions. Compliance audit is mostly common for universities. For example, Ministry of Higher Education comes and they carry out an audit, and that audit is compliance to see that a specific university is providing its services in accordance with the rules and regulations of the ministry. Next, we have operational audit. This is detailed analysis of the goals, planning, processes, procedures, and results of operations of business. The audit may be conducted internally or by external entity. The independent result is an evaluation of operations. The intent result is an evaluation of operations, likely with the recommendations for improvement. Operational audit, basically from the name it's clear that this is, in this audit, mostly an external individual who's professional and qualified individual, or it could be internal, comes and reviews all the operations of the organization to see if they match with the mission, vision, goals and objectives and plans and strategies of the organization or not, right? So they want to match the operations with the goals, strategies and objectives and mission and vision, and then provides suggestions to put the organization on the right directions so they can reach to their mission, vision and their goals using specific and correct strategies and plans. Right, here are some more information about the financial audit, compliance audit, and operational audit. These three are the most common and the most vast type of audits. Now we have information system audit or information technology audit. This involves a review of the control over software development, data processing, and access to computer systems. The intent is to spot any issue that could impair the ability of the information technology system to provide accurate information to users, as well as to ensure that authorized parties do not have access to unauthorized parties do not have access to data. Nowadays, all of the companies, they use a digital system or a information system, or we can say management information system, where all the organizational processes and procedures and policies are digitalized using computers and an internet and information technology systems, using a complex database. So in such type of audits, when auditor comes, he checks the system to make sure the system is not vulnerable, there is no unauthorized access, and the system is friendly user and provides the information and works as per the policy of the organization, which help reaching to the goals and objectives of the organization, right? Okay, so the next type of audit we have is integrated audit. From the name, it's clear. Integrated means it's a type of audit where 2, 3, or for example, financial audit, operational audit, and compliance audit are mixed. Or it could be a financial audit with operational audit, or it could be financial audit with the compliance audit, or it could be financial audit with information system audit, or it could be from 1 to 4, all of them combined. So integrated here means combined. When more than one type of audits are carried out, we call that integrated audit. So integrated audit look at controls that address financial, operational, compliance, and information system risks. These audits are typically centered on a business cycle or specific part of cycle or process. So that's all about the integrated audit. Next, we have tax audit. From the name, it's clear. When you are audited to see that you have paid proper type of taxes and you have not made any violation in tax laws and there is no tax evasion, so such type of audit is called tax audit. Tax audit are in Afghanistan mostly carried out by the Ministry of Finance, tax offices. So this is an analysis of tax returns submitted by an individual or business entity to see if tax information and resulting income tax payment is valid. Tax return here means forma. So it's a forma maliyati. So it is to check that if you have paid all your taxes with the help of all those forma maliyati, you have made sahi rapurdi and all paid sahi type of taxes. So this audit is for the purpose of making sure that you have paid proper taxes, you have reported proper taxes as well. These audits are usually targeted at returns that result in extensive low tax payments to see if an individual additional assessment can be made. So mostly all over the world, the tax systems are self-reporting. Entities and organizations, they report their own taxes and pay their own taxes by assessing themselves. Later on, the tax authorities, they issue an audit. They audit all their tax returns for specific, maybe 1 or 2 years, or maybe more than that, and see that if a specific organization has reported all their tax returns and paid all their taxes, and they want to make sure if the additional tax could be assessed and then paid by that entity if there is any pending liability, right? So that's the tax audit. در افغانستان بررسی میگن، شما شاید شنیده باشین وزارت مالیه بررسی میکنه، بررسی یا تفتیش. تفتیش مالیاتی، مالی مالیاتی. صحیح است. مالیات میبینن که یک نهادی مالیات پرداخته یا نپرداخته، مطابق قوانین مالیات تمام اسنادهای خود ارائه کرده، اسنادهای خود رکورد کرده یا خیر، و تمام مالیات صحیح پرداخته. و اینا میخوان که ببینن که اضافی کدام مالیات شما نپرداخته باشین که اینا ببینه، اساس کنه و بپردازین شما. صحیح است. اونا سنجش میکنن، بعد اگر چیز اضافی مانده باشه باز شما میپردازین. Next we have investigative audit. از نام واضح، قسمی که میبینین که از نام واضح هست investigative audit. investigation چرا میگه؟ investigation تفتیش را میگه، investigation بازپرس را میگه، بازپرس مثلا یک چیز واقع میشه، یک واقع رونما میشه، یک چیز گم میشه، یک چیز کم میشه، یک چیز اضافه میشه، ما باید اینوستیگیشن میکنیم، میبینیم که کجا مشکل است. صحیح است. So این نوع audit است. This is an investigation of a specific area or individual when there is a suspicion of inappropriate or fraudulent activities. The intent is to locate and remedy control breaches, as well as to collect evidence in case charges are to be brought against someone. قسمی که در کابل بانک یک دفعه ورشکسته شد، دیگه باز بررسی شد. این قسم بررسی را که ببینیم که کجا مشکل بوده، کی کار انجام داده، ما چی میگیم؟ investigative audit. صحیح است. یه جای بسیار خوب مثال دادم که میگن there is a fraud happen in payroll department and these concerns raised to the audit committee or board of directors or something. There is the request from CEO to have specific audit on this area. Specific audit is a bit different from forensic audit, as specific audit done by internal staff or entity. Say that this investigation audit is internal within the organization. Something goes wrong, so that area is then investigatively audited to see who was the actual cause of this problem and who made fraud and so on. Right? Okay, that's all for today's lecture. Inshallah, I'll get back to you with the new lecture where we will discuss the remaining types of audits. Inshallah. Right? So thank you so much. Goodbye for now.